Now then, how are we doing? Hope you're all having a good Christmas, and welcome to another edition of Barnsley Biker Video Diaries. Thought I'd just give you a quick update as to what's been happening in garage. It's riding weather's finished a few weeks ago, so it's a case of catching up with a few projects, catching up with a few maintenance tasks that we needed to do. So basically that's where we are at minute. I'll just give you a quick rundown and show you what we've been doing. But basically all four of my bikes all need little bits and pieces doing to them, and I've got some bigger tasks, shall we say, that I wanted to do on Yamaha. Nothing major, but just a couple of things that I think I mentioned in a previous video that moving forward I thought I wanted to have a look at. So I'll take you for a walk around and show you what we've been doing. But for now, as always, I am the Barnsley Biker. Please like, please subscribe, please share. Right, let's go have a look at see what we've been doing. Right then, first off, let's have a look at Triumph. A couple of little jobs that I had to do to that. Fork seals had started leaking again, so we've replaced fork seals. We've gone back to the original style that was in when I bought the bike, so hopefully they're going to last a little bit longer than 1,000 miles this time. Given the bike a really good clean and a basic service. We've not changed the oil and filter, but we've done tappets. Inlets were all right, but they'd not been touched since I did the cylinder head and had the barrels honed, etc. last winter, so they needed doing. You're supposed to do them after 300 miles, but probably done a bit more than that. But the inlets were still fine. The exhaust valves did need a little bit of attention, but not much. Adjusted chain, service brakes, and giving it all a really good clean. So yeah, we've done that. Harley's still under wraps. I've got a couple of jobs I want to do on that. Yeah, I'm thinking about getting a slightly larger tank for it. The Harley's the motor wants to do distance. It's not a short haul bike. It's more of a long haul bike. Loves being on the motorway and fast A roads, just cruising along. But the tank limits you on doing any distance, really. You get, so as you're approaching 100 miles and you get into it, you're looking for the next garage. There is a tank available that will give you an extra gallon, gives you approximately somewhere in the region 150, 160 mile range, so I'm told. So we're thinking about getting one of those and fitting that. We'll see how it goes. Ducati really just needs a really good valet, but also chain and sprocket. We got an advisory at the last MOT and it has done, those chain and sprockets have done 8,000 miles, so we need to get on with that. But that's not desperate urgent. They're serviceable at the moment, but they won't looking at before we get too far into the year. So the biggest project has been on the Yamaha. I'll just give you a look at what we've been doing to that. So I got some different handlebars for the Yamaha. They're basically the same bend that I've got on the Triumph. The other ones were just a little bit on the narrow side, and to be fair, looking a bit scratty. Now I've tidied the bike up, so I've put these on. Again, they're from Ace Classics, same as the ones that I put on the Triumph. Fitting the bars, as much as they're only about ½ an inch wider at either end, because they're taller, I ended up having to put new brake line on and modify the throttle cable, and I've put a side pull throttle on just to give it a better line of travel for the cable, really. It used to come out in a big loop, and yeah, you just always get a bit worried about it catching. But the biggest thing, and I did mention this in the one of the videos, as you can see there, the seat's off. All right, we're in the middle of repadding the seat. The original padding, it was basically what they use in furniture cushions, I think, and you didn't need to do many miles before you felt like you were sitting on the frame rails. So I'm going to use a combination of race foam, which is what's on there at the moment, which I'm going to build up in layers and then shape so we get the sort of contours that I want. And then I might put just a thin layer of memory foam on the top, just give that softer cushion for the first little bit. So that's what we're on with at the moment. We've also modified the mountings. Okay, before there were, well, yeah, three little, they were only 5mm thread bolts that had been put through the base there, and then a 6mm one there, but they were really fiddly. Only one of these actually gave you an anchor point, the other one had nothing to fasten to, so we were held on by these two, and it was fiddly. You've got to take the bike apart to get the seat off. So I've modified it, made it so there's just two, one at the back and one that fastens underneath there. So, but we're in the process of, as I say, building up the foam and shaping that, and then we'll put the original cover back on, all being well. So that's where we're at the moment. Yeah, I've put a little tool bag on, not ridden it with that on yet, so we'll see. The side panel fits behind that, and I'll show you before we take it for the first ride. So yeah, fingers crossed, everything's going to be looking good. I'm also going to give this a full valet and do a basic tappets, oil change. Need to get hold of a filter for it, shouldn't be too difficult, but basic tappets, oil change, and basic service really. I adjusted the chain when I did the tyres, etc., so that shouldn't need doing because it's not been very far since I put those tyres on. But get that done, and then we'll get out with that new camera and see how it looks. So yeah, crack on with that now. I'll give you a little bit of an update. This video is going to be doing the seat, I suppose, most of it, and then we'll get out there, and I'll give you another video in the spring of a test ride on this, on the Triumph, just see how them fork seals are going, etc., and yeah, get back into the swing of things. So let's get on with seat. Right then, I've got the seat laid up roughly. Basically I've built up layers of racing seat foam, which I'll then carve into the approximate shape that I'm going to need it to be. After I've got the approximate shape with racing seat foam, you can use sandpaper or an angle grinder to sculpture it to the shape that you need. So that's what I will be doing once I've got the rough shape cut out. To cut the rough shape out, basically I use an electric carving knife. So yeah, let me show you what we've done so far. This is basically a layer of 20mm, then a layer of 40mm on top of each other. I've put a little piece at the front and at the back, so I'm going to shape it a little bit. Obviously I'm going to sculpture the sides here to get a shape, and then I'll be able to get, maybe put a little bit of a dip in, but not too much. The shape's going to be more or less flat on the top. It's going to have a little bit of a hump at the back, nothing too pronounced. That's going to get ground away quite a lot, and the same at the front there. So, but yeah, here's the magic tool that we're going to be using for that sculpting. The good old-fashioned, everybody's got one in the cupboard somewhere, electric carving knife, and that's what we will be using to shape the foam. It goes through the foam like a hot knife through butter, as they say. So that'll be used for the rough shaping, and then, as I say, then we'll get start getting to the proper profiling using the angle grinder, followed by a little bit of sandpaper. Then once we've got it something like, and I can offer up the old seat cover to see how it's going to fit, maybe a little bit of fine tuning towards the end. But there we are, that's the seat at this stage. So we'll come back to it when we've got it a little bit further on. Right now then, I've been cracking on with seat. I did forget to film part of it, but basically carrying on from where I showed you with layering it up, basically using a combination of angle grinder, rotary sander, and just plain old coarse sanding sheets. I've managed to profile the layers that I'd put on and get them something like to be honest, the angle grinder is really harsh. You've got to be very careful with what you're doing with that. The rotary sander is good for the fine detail. Coarse sandpaper is probably the best for getting the shape and removing foam to get the profile right. So I'll show you where we're up to now. I'm going to stick it on the bike and let you have a look at how it looks on the bike for now. But yeah, here it is. So yeah, I've put some a thin layer of softer foam over the top of, just to give a little bit of a cushion before the race foam, if you like. But that's the seat. That's it profiled. A little bit of a, wanted a little bit of a kick up at the back, and I've put a little bit of a, don't know if you can see there at the front. Okay. Going to put the cover back on is the next stage. See if we can get that to work. But let's just stick it on the bike and just see how it's looking for now, and then I'll show you with the cover on. And yeah, we're nearly there. And that's how it's going to look on the bike, more or less. I've changed the way the seat bolts. There's a bolt under the front there, and there's just one at the back here, so it's a lot easier to get on there. But yeah, that's the seat for now. So next stage is just let the glue dry on that, and then I'm going to try and get the cover onto it, see if we can make that fit, stretch that over. So yeah, I'll show you when it's finished. Right, well that's gone a little bit easier than I expected, with basically more or less finished. So let's have a quick look at seat, see what you think. Okay, that's it from underneath. Basically I've used a tack contact adhesive that's used for carpet and upholstery to glue it all back in place. Alright, we're just letting that go off, and that's the seat recovered. Use the original cover. I don't think I think the seat was originally on something completely different. It was never a perfect fit on the original foam, and it's not perfect to this, but it'll do, and gives it that vintage period look. It is leather, so yeah, so I'm going to just quickly bolt it onto the bike and see how it looks. Maybe have a sit and see how it feels, although I want to let that glue dry, so maybe not today. Anyway, let's get it put on bike. Okay, there you have it. Seat fitted. Before, no matter what you did, the seat was always loose or very slightly. That is solid now and a lot firmer than it was. Hopefully it's not going to be too firm, like a old butt. But no, looking something like. Still giving that classic vintage look, but yes, not too bad at all. So give you a report back on how it feels when we get a ride on it. But for now, that's it. It's a wrap, or a recover. As you've just seen, that's it. Seat done. Went a bit quicker and a bit easier than I expected. Hopefully it's going to last, and it's going to be a bit more comfortable than it was before. We'll see how it goes. I'll give a report back once we've had a ride. So there you have it. That's what we've been up to. That's what we've been doing. Looking forward to this weather improving so we can get out there and get some riding done. I treated myself to a new camera for Christmas, so it's a 360. We'll see how that goes, see if we can get some more interesting riding footage. I plan to try and do a few more rides, but also I'll still be doing my videos of shows and things. We've got a few already penciled in. I'm looking through a calendar now. As you probably saw at the beginning of the video, every year I do a calendar from photos that I've taken for close family and friends. So yeah, I'm going to get back to the calendar and start looking at some of the dates we've got penciled in for some of the events that we're looking at attending and going to be sharing with you. So for now, thanks very much, thanks for watching, and I'll see you.